it becomes hard, it becomes tricky, when you're talking to guys about college because everybody wants to pursue like this D1 or bust. And it's just not always the case because you look at the big leagues, all those guys didn't come from D1s. They all had different routes. They all came from, some of them came from mid-majors, some of them were JUCO guys. Like, it's all different. Everyone's, story is different. I always tell kids, just because you go D1, don't mean you're always going to make it. So it's like kind of set your eyes on everything so you have options for yourself.
What's up, guys? This is Cash Shake, Chairman, CEO, and co-founder of Baseball United, the first professional baseball league in the history of the Middle East and South Asia. And you're watching the Legends on Deck podcast with my boys, Brian Koss and David Conde.
Welcome to episode 104 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with my co-host, David Conde. And we are back here just before Christmas time. And our special guest today is Garrett Sheffield. Garrett grew up in Florida his whole life, still lives here in Florida. So this is a Florida-only podcast today, but everyone else is welcome to listen as well. Garrett is played college ball, independent ball, is currently involved in baseball in a variety of ways. Garrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
No problem. So I gotta say first, I do have my Christmas shirt on. I don't think
I
we've
like
ever.
it.
I don't think we
Is
ever.
that the Griswold family Christmas tree?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love I could watch that show all the time. I don't think
just
we've ever. Huh?
I should have worn it. I bought the Clark Griswold hockey jersey
Mm.
with he wears that Chicago Blackhawks jersey when he's walking down the.
Yeah.
I got an imitation of that recently.
Well, I think we didn't create any LOD Christmas shirts. I mean, every time I say
I know.
we gotta create one so we can get that going. But anyway,
I had my
Yeah.
I had my ugly Christmas sweater. You should have told me I would have put it on or something.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
yeah.
white black jacket on.
Maybe listen with AI, I could probably put it on for you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right, so let's get started with what we always do with our guests is we want to go back. I mean, you're not, you're kind of young guy, right? And we're not going back too far, but kind of give us
Yeah.
an idea, like, where you grew up at, how baseball became something that you wanted to play, high school, things like that. Kind of, where did it all start?
So for me, I was born and raised in South Florida, mainly Broward County, 954. So I was born and raised out there. And for me personally, like baseball started when I was like 7 years old. I was always around the game. Um, Not so much like being in the locker rooms and with the players and stuff like my other siblings were, but for me it was a little different. I got to watch it from afar, and I at first I wasn't interested in it, believe it or not. Like I wasn't really interested in it, and it wasn't until like I was 7, 8 years old. My uncle Charlie, he was like, "You should give it a try. Like you should give it a shot. Like I think you'll be really good at it." And I'm like, we'll see." And he was like, just watch this." So he put up like YouTube or some videos up, and he was showing me like videos of my dad, and he was showing me like, oh, like this is this is what your dad does. Like he's like the real deal, and like you can do that. You can do what he's doing. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. So, I went out there and I remember my first day I'm out there and I had my gloves, I'm a right-hander and I had the glove on the opposite hand. Like I had no idea like what I was doing. I was just winging it. And as I got older and, got the proper training and stuff and got better, I just fell in love with it. Um, but yeah, baseball has always been around for me. Growing up as a kid, obviously like South Florida baseball is different. So, you had to kind of learn how to get better quick or else you were going to get passed on for sure.
So what when you went through I'm assuming little league and stuff, when did you get on the high school team right away? This is something that you just like kind of like found how did that process work? Share that with us.
Yeah, so in South Florida, there's this school. It's called Flanagan High School, and there was this coach out there that he was, I forget his name, it was so long ago. He was training me, and I was training with this one coach, and training with another coach named Danny Espinoza, and he was helping me out with baseball, and it was between those two guys and this one other guy. His name is Charlie Lau Jr. I don't know if that ever brings up a name, but Charlie Lau um, was like a famous hitting coach with the White Sox, and I met his son when I was younger. He used to be Alex Rodriguez's hitting coach.
Mm.
And that guy, Charlie Lau Jr., kind of like elevated my game to where when I got to eighth grade, because I went to like a private school, I went to eighth grade, I made the varsity team, trying out for the JV team. Trying out for the JV team, I was just, out there, and there was varsity practice on the other side. And they were watching me throw and hit. And, I got lucky early, to be on the varsity team at eighth grade. And I was able to start, basically my freshman, like end of freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior, started all years.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you when did the thought of college baseball come into the thought process for you?
For me, in my head, I was a naive kid, and I was like, I'm going straight to the league. Forget college. I'm not doing it. I was playing really well at the time. There was major league scouts at the game, particularly the Marlins and Dodgers. They would come out all the time, and I was like, oh, I'm going to the league. I'm talking to these guys. And I was so naive because and I always tell kids this, all the kids that I train, I'm like, make sure you do what you need to do in school so you can position yourself later. And I did not do that. I can be honest. I did not do that. And at that time, I ended up like not really having many places to go because my GPA was so bad, and I wasn't eligible for most schools, so I had to go the JUCO route.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Just thinking about that though, the JUCO route in Florida is actually super competitive.
yeah,
yeah,
Um,
it's
it's
big,
not
it's
your
big time
typical,
now.
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's most of those schools can beat like mid-major D1s in my opinion. Like those guys are
Absolutely.
insane. Yeah, like draft picks are most people go there to get drafted. Like it's
Right.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, arguably more competitive, I would say, than like D2 and maybe well, definitely like the going north to go to D3s. But yeah, some of the most competitive players, but maybe for academic reasons,
Mm,
um, or other reasons,
yeah.
like you say, they want that path to the big leagues that just gets them a little bit more before they get drafted. So yeah,
Yeah.
you look at the MLB draft, and you'll see a bunch of state colleges here in Florida, JUCOs, with
Yeah.
guys coming out of those schools.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's because the school I went to Santa Fe. It was in Gainesville, Florida.
Yep,
I went there and I didn't really see much of the field because when I got there, I was playing infield. And the thing about JUCO is their rules are very different from like other schools like D1s and stuff. Their practice times, D1 is like you have to practice these many hours. You're only allowed to be on the field these many days. JUCO is different. You'll be out there all day. There's rosters of like 50, 60 people. Like it's insane. And it's all the guys are so talented and you can only put nine guys on a field. So like for me, I always ran in a situation in my career where it was like, okay, I'm I know I'm good enough to play. People around me telling me I'm good enough to play. I'm showing that I can play. But then when it comes down to numbers games, you don't always win those, It's most way careers ends for most players. So
Can you touch on quickly because I think I don't think enough kids know nowadays because you have the younger guys that like you dreaming of the big leagues. You got to go the step. Some of them don't go straight from high school to the professional level. Can you share what it's like to play high school baseball and then play at that next level in college, the expectations, what you're faced against, the talent level, like the shift, because at that point, that's kind of what makes and breaks most guys, like you said. Like after if you don't do well in college or whatever, that
Hmm.
doesn't translate always into professional baseball unless
Yeah.
it's independent. So can you share that jump and what that is and what that feels like?
Yeah, it's completely different because on your high school team, most guys that get to the level, like I don't know the exact numbers, but I know there's millions of people that play, baseball, travel baseball, high school baseball. When you make that jump, even the JUCO D1, that number shrinks like dramatically. And you
Yeah.
can be the best player on your high school team. That doesn't mean you're going to play when you go to college, whether it's JUCO, whether it's any level, even D3. Like or NAIA. Like you're not guaranteed to play just because you're an All-American. I see All-Americans that I know personally, they're sitting on the bench. Like it's a different level of play, and it's hard because especially now with the transfer portal being a thing,
Hmm.
high school kids are really getting the short end of the stick coming out of high school, going into those schools. You know, you can, and a lot of people now are taking that JUCO route where before it was kind of like, oh, this is like an after thing. I want to go pursue D1. Now it's different because, college coaches are looking at, I want guys with experience that are already developed for this team, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're going and you're playing against, you know, you're an 18-year-old just came out of high school and you're stepping into an SEC program, it's going to be very hard for you to play when they're bringing in a guy that you don't even know from another ACC school and then bring him to this SEC school in your same position. Now you have to compete against that guy. So it becomes hard, it becomes tricky, when you're talking to guys about college because everybody wants to pursue like this D1 or bust. And it's just not always the case because you look at the big leagues, all those guys didn't come from D1s. They all had different routes. They all came from, some of them came from mid majors, some of them were JUCO guys. Like, it's all different. Everyone's, story is different. I always tell kids, just because you go D1, don't mean you're always going to make it, So it's like kind of set your eyes on everything so you have options for yourself.
I think that's a great. I mean, Brian and I talk about this all the time. I think it's a great point. The baseball game has been so vast now, so huge, the different areas that you can go to. That kids have more options, right?
Yeah.
But the end result may not always end up in Major League Baseball. It may just be like you were able to continue to go the different levels, which I guess is good and bad. Too many levels is not good, right? Too
Yeah,
many,
yeah.
too many options is good, but then it may not be good because there's
Yeah.
too many guys out there you're competing against. But
Yeah, because you're not competing against guys here. You're competing against guys in the DR. You're facing guys. You're competing against guys in Japan. It's people don't understand how hard this game is. This game requires, yes, everyone wants to say, "Oh, work hard and you'll make it." That's not always true. And I tell my kids when I train them, I'm like, "Yeah, you can work hard, but that doesn't mean you're gonna make it." I'm just gonna be real with you. I'm very real with the kids I train. It
yeah,
takes a little bit
so
of
there too.
luck.
Yeah,
It
and
takes a
mental.
little bit of luck and things going your
Yep,
way. And it takes also like the mental
yep.
like toughness to deal with that because you're facing a lot of adversity. And if you're not training your mind to handle adversity at a young age, you're gonna fail in life. You're gonna fail in baseball for sure, you know.
That's probably why all this. I'm not gonna knock travel ball because we have his son plays and my son played it, but all this.
Yeah.
We win at all costs. Just win, 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 win. The kids don't really understand there's losing involved, the adversity, right? When you're
Hmm.
faced with a lot of adversity, it's not
Yeah.
just get that trophy at the weekend. No, it's say, hey, we got to build your mind differently to be prepared for when you aren't the star of the team.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
you
because
aren't the main
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, because when those guys, because think about it, you got all those big travel ball teams, those travel ball organizations, all those guys don't make it either. So it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, you can be on the best on the biggest, best teams. I remember when I was going in the travel ball scene, we wanted to beat those teams, the elites and the
Yeah.
the whatever squad, the elite squads and
The scout teams and
scout
stuff.
teams. Yeah, we wanted to beat all those guys, like because we just didn't like them because we just thought, they think they're all that because they're on this team and stuff. Which if you're on that team, great. Like there's nothing wrong with it, But it's so tough now because just because you're on those teams don't mean you're gonna make it either. It's
Yeah.
it's a really, about right timing. And like you said, like having that having that mindset to handle adversity, because you can be on a team that's not the biggest and the best, but because you can mentally handle certain adversities better than the next guy, you might be able to have, a longer career than somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was thinking about what you were mentioning about the recruiting process, because it has and we've talked about this a couple times on this show,
Mhm.
but so drastically changed in the last few years.
Yeah.
You're the point you made about, you're if you're a high school ball player, like these big schools could build a team full of transfers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it in football, they're doing it in basketball, they're doing it in baseball, they're doing it in everything,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you build a whole team full of transfers. So it probably for a kid in high school, it probably has to change the calculation, the mental outlook of a kid that's getting scouted at the high school level and say, hey, you know what? Find the best place that's a good fit where I'm going to play
Hmm.
Hmm.
versus find the big school. You get signed by Miami or Florida or Georgia, where the big ones, right? um it's is it going to matter because are you going to have a spot to play?
Yeah.
And so that it has to change the calculation of the kid coming out of high school going into college.
Yeah.
So just one thought that I had on that, but because listen to what you had to say. um on the flip, on a somewhat unrelated note, but related because it's college baseball. But I noticed you played for the Sanford River Rats in the
Yeah.
Summer Collegiate League, and here in Central Florida.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Played for the River Rats. It was my first like college summer ball experience, and it was definitely fun. I enjoyed it. All the rainouts weren't fun, but some of the rain.
Oh man.
It's crazy how many rainouts we had that year. It's probably still happening now. I mean, it's
It's
Florida.
still the same. So yeah, I'm involved with the squeeze in the Summer Collegiate League,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, we got some real wipeouts during the summer this year with
Oh,
rain coming
absolutely.
out of nowhere, just flooding the fields, and yeah, and if you don't know, for some people that may not know about that league, every one of these college summer leagues is different. Some of them have cities that are further away, and they travel by bus with the teams. The
Mhm.
Florida League is all within the Orlando area. And then you travel basically just across the city,
Yeah.
right? So the city's in the middle, and then you've got around, if you think of it as like a wheel spoke, there's teams all around the city of Orlando. And yeah, so and the players, you guys, as you know, are responsible for travel to get the one game to the other,
Yeah.
right? So, and some of them are living with host families on different sides of town. So
Yeah.
it's a grind for those guys.
No, for sure. The worst drive was going to Leesburg. I hated it.
Ah, yeah.
Leesburg was the worst drive I had to do.
It's my best drive from where I'm at because I'm in
Oh,
Winter Garden. Going to Leesburg's
uh,
the easiest for me.
yeah.
But yeah, for if you're on the other, if you're in Sanford,
Mhm.
that's like
Yeah.
opposite side of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you played in some other summer baseball leagues as well.
Yes, I did. Yeah. The best one I would say for sure was the Northwoods League.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I played in that. I had a temporary contract to play in there. It's definitely like really good competition. I had some success there. But it was definitely fun, playing in the different leagues and seeing the different levels of competition and kind of like comparing yourself to see like where you are and just like working on your game out there for sure. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every moment of it. I don't really, regret much
yeah.
when it comes down
And
to that.
and that's a league that involves a little bit more travel too, because it's Michigan, it's Ohio, Indiana, I think
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
It's
So
like
you
pro
have
ball. Yeah, it was kind
yeah,
of like a pro ball experience. Yeah. Because you're kind of I think you are playing, if I remember, you're playing every day over there.
yeah.
You're
Yeah,
playing.
basically. Yeah, I mean, these leagues are all like 6 games a week or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And from there, you went on and played independent
Yeah, yeah. So
after. I mean, sorry, we kind of back. I could back it up a little bit. So you were
no,
at
no, you're good.
JUCO, and then you made some transfers. So you went another route with college, and then into independent ball.
Yeah, so I played at a few different schools. Like I said, luck didn't go my way in terms of getting as much playing time as I wanted to. Certain things I could have prevented, other things that, I can't prevent a coach not putting me in the lineup. I had like my biggest break was I went to this school, and I don't think you guys ever probably heard of this school. It's called Shelton State Community College. It's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Hmm.
It was a JUCO, but it's like one of the biggest JUCOs in that area. A lot of those guys, they go to like a lot of SEC schools like Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State.
Yeah,
And for that, yeah, I was that was 2020 when I went there, and that's when the COVID year, and I was
yeah,
balling out. I was hitting like 100. I was stealing so many bags. I was doing so well, and I was like, "Oh, I'm getting drafted." At the time, I was like 21, and I'm like, "Oh, this is my draft year." And we were hearing my coaches were telling me about different schools that were watching me and some colleges that were watching me as well. And then COVID hit, and then all that got taken away with the, I think it was like 5 round draft or something. And I got a crummy free agent deal that my dad told me not to take, and I'm gonna listen to him. So we didn't
yeah.
really go that route. But yeah, after that, I went to a few other like different schools. I ended up finishing my college career at Southeastern University in Lakeland,
Hmm.
NAIA, and end up winning a national championship with them. Actually, I think I
Okay.
have the ring around here somewhere. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so I played there, ended it on a high note, and I was like, okay, let me see what I can do in the professional world because it's hard to get drafted out of NAIA. So went the indie ball route, and that's where the first team I was in the Frontier League. I tried to get on the Thunderbolts. I went there for a spring training, and they were like, you know, we don't want to take away your eligibility because I had one more year left of eligibility. So they were like, that's when I got sent to the Northwoods League to play there. It's weird, but they were able to
Yeah.
make that happen for me.
Huh.
So I did that. And then I went to the Pioneer League, and I played there for a little bit.
You've been kind of moving around a little bit then.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely was. I definitely was. That's baseball for you. I mean, you never really know where you're going to end up, that's for sure.
So I do want to touch on one thing. I'm looking at your baseball reference page, and
Mhm.
you played in Colombia.
Yeah, yeah, I played in Colombia for a winter ball.
Yeah.
Played a little bit there. I ended up getting hurt. That's why I had to come back home, messed up my shoulder a little bit.
Mm.
But I was playing out there, a good amount. It was definitely like something I wanted to do, was play overseas. I might still, consider it in the future. They offered me another contract to go back there, but I was like, let me, focus on making some money right now in the off season.
Well, the reason why I say I'm intrigued by that is
hmm
one, I see you play with Sean Dunston was on your team,
Yeah.
right? And then on the team from Barranquilla is my buddy Dilson Herrera.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then we had what's the pitcher for the Braves? What's he was the ace for the Braves.
oh,
He Yeah,
Tehran.
Teron. Yeah, he was on that
Mm.
team as well. Yeah.
Nice. How was that experience of being? I mean, where did you? Okay, what I have to ask is, where
Yeah.
did you stay? Where was like I know Barranquilla has their team in Cartagena. Like, where was your team located?
I was in Cartagena.
You in Cartagena. So is the
Yeah.
travel between the teams pretty much within the same region?
Kind of depends on where you went. They had like they'll have you stay at this hotel. It was a nice hotel. They had you stay there, and the bus would pick you up from the hotel and take you, like to all the field and stuff.
And it was within reason. I mean, it was pretty
Yeah,
close to each other.
yeah. Yeah.
And what did you like best about? See, my wife's Colombian,
Okay,
so
okay.
we went and I met Dilson back in 19 maybe. I don't know. It was a while back when he first came with the Mets. I met him through another Colombian guy that I knew on the Mets, and we became friends and everything. I've known him for a long time.
Yeah.
But my wife took me and the kids back went back to Colombia for her to go back for the first time in 20 years. In 2019, we went to visit. We went to, she's from Pereira, which is a long ways away from
Yeah.
Cartagena. But
Uh-huh.
then we took this biggest plane I ever seen in my life to go like an hour to Cartagena. We got to experience that and
Yeah.
see. So I love Colombian food.
Oh,
I've been with her for over 30 years. But I love Colombian food. So what was something you took out of Colombia?
honestly, like their culture, it was very different. I always heard like winter ball was just a different animal, and until you like see it in person, it's like stuff you see on social media just doesn't give it justice. Like it's probably the best baseball environment I've ever played in my life. Like, and I've been in certain stadiums in big moments, but like winter ball is just different. Like I don't think no matter where you go, like obviously the DR is like the mecca for it, but Columbia, they go hard for their baseball and they pack out stadiums. Like they'll be there like 3, 4 hours before BP, and you're in the locker room, like, and you're hearing music just blasting, shaking the whole locker room. I'm like, it's crazy. And you're going out there, and they're just dancing and singing and playing music, and it's just loud. Like, and they're doing this in the middle of the game, and it's a crazy, like crazy atmosphere. I loved it.
You know, it's crazy that Colombia was always known for soccer. It was never really known for baseball.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I'm losing his name right now. He played with the Marlins, won the World Series with the Marlins. He helped start. He's a shortstop. I can't understand why I can't remember his name right now. So anyway, he helped start the league over there
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I know you're
get
talking about. Yeah.
yeah and get it going.
Mhm.
Share his name because it's losing my mind.
I'm trying to remember it too, but I know I'm trying to remember, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Dang,
Yeah,
what is his name?
and so he started this thing, and I know when Dilson would go back and play, and they did they entered the baseball the baseball cup and everything. So the World Baseball Classic is just amazing where baseball has grown
Mm,
in Colombia and how and just the whole international market. Like we talk about, me and Brian, we have connections with the baseball United, in Dubai, and you hear
yeah,
about what they're doing over there. So it's just a Colombia's just come a long way, and to see them compete on the level they are, it's amazing. Now I get to brag to my wife's family that I don't have to sit here and watch soccer anymore. I can
yeah,
actually watch baseball and root for Colombia. And actually,
yeah,
the name Edgar Renteria, he's the one that
yeah, yeah. Edgar
he's the
Renteria.
one
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
where he's the one that kind of like got it really going, and it's just exploded in Colombia. So the fact that you got to go over there and experience that's huge.
Yeah,
That's
no, I
huge.
loved it. I definitely would do it again. And it's growing too. Like from where it was from last year to this year, because I watch it all the time on my phone. It's grown like it's gonna be, I think, a top league for sure. Like right there with the DR in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and they have the talent they have even for the baseball classic. I mean, their talent is could compete with anybody. I mean, DR team is going to be ridiculous this year, but
Yeah, yeah.
but Colombia is just right there. I mean, they got amazing ball players that are just take off. So maybe if you want to like get involved with get married like a Colombian, you might just be able to just play on the team because they do that too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Be
Yeah,
a
like
up there.
you get a little bit. I see these things popping up, and like this guy's playing for whatever country. So all you have to have some kind of small tie to the country for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, some
and I
great
think if
great
you,
great 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 grandfather or something
Yeah,
like
it's
they'll
that,
something
find
or
weird.
your
somebody.
Like
wife, or you
you're
have a
right.
kid.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
saw that the guys on the Royals, Pasquino or whatever his name is, he's playing for Team Italy, and like
Mhm.
his like grandpa's Italian. So
Yeah.
he,
Well,
yeah,
he got
no,
the name, so it fits. You know, if it
right.
was like
Yeah,
a Murphy, it probably wouldn't fit. You know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I saw Riley Green's playing for Puerto Rico. I didn't even know he was Puerto Rican.
yeah. I didn't know that
Uh,
either.
That's
so
see, that's what I'm
yeah,
talking
they
about.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, but it's actually kind of good because you could spread out some talent across some other countries. Um, you know, the US team looks pretty darn good though right now,
Yeah, they
from what
do.
I've seen coming in.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with Japan, but uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
see they
looking for
just
the matchup.
Japan's a whole other level. I don't know if, I've obviously never been to Japan, but I've watched a few documentaries on Japanese baseball, and it is like military training.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a whole other level.
They're very like technical with everything. And that's why I feel like they're so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm glad they have the World Baseball Classic because I was thinking about the other day is why do we call it why does MLB have the World Series when it's not really teams from other countries? But then I read up and said well it's teams from other players from other countries. And like, it's not the same thing. But
Yeah.
with the World Baseball Classic, it's like I mean, you watch that. I mean, I was rooting. I mean, wasn't rooting against the U.S., but just to see the talent levels and the players from other countries, like even like I was saying, Baseball United, they got teams from Pakistan, from India, from all people. Just everyone's playing the game,
Yeah.
and it's just great to see for the game overall, especially with all the craziness that's going on in Major League Baseball now with the salaries and everything else. Just to see that we can root for other teams and kind of I probably share with you, I'm a Met fan, so I'm not in a good space right now. But but,
So bad for
but just to kind of like, just go out and watch baseball someplace else and not have to deal with the drama that's going on over here. It's a good thing. It's not just we don't just have baseball here. Is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
but so you play independent ball, you play, some college and stuff and overseas. You're also training kids. So kind of go into some of that, like, when did that start for you? How's that going? And have you had any kids that kind of are being able to play, the next level and stuff, high school, college, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So, for me, with when it comes down to like training kids, I always did that. That was something I just like to do. I was doing that just in the off season, and I was training kids from like 4 or 5 years old till high schoolers. There's some kids that I train now that they're in high school, but I was training them when they were like like elementary, middle school. So I kind of like grew up with them as well. And I've been doing that for quite some time. I honestly love it. I feel like it's my way to like
Sorry.
give back. No, you're fine. It was my way to like, give back to the kids and, show like, my knowledge that I know from the game and, because I would feel kind of selfish if I just had knowledge from my experiences and I didn't, pour into someone else's life, that I can one day impact. So I feel like for me, like it was just something I feel like I just had to do.
So when we have different coaches and that on or guys that do training like you do, we always kind of ask them what their central philosophy is
Yeah.
on the game itself and how to train and how to mentally and physically train players. But so can you share with us a little bit like what's your approach? How do you what you do a little bit different than what other people are doing? And what should young ball players focus on?
So for me, because I started training kids at like that are like younger.
Mhm.
Obviously what a lot of trainers go wrong is they try to train every kid the same way. They'll watch something on YouTube
Yeah.
and then they'll just like, oh, here's these six drills, here's this, here's that. And then it's like, okay, well, this kid has a different swing from this kid. So I can't train them the same. So I have to, like, for me, like, I had, help from my dad and other people that I was surrounded by that were able to like they usually tell you like, oh, you don't really listen to your parents and stuff, you do this and that, how people are, but I listened. I listened to all the baseball advice, everything that was given to me, and I kind of just like pour it onto the kids. And you know for me, like when it comes down to like philosophies, like I said, every kid is different. So, um, I'm very big on like when you have a kid, especially a young kid, because it's like you kind of have to get them to like go this way. In order to do that, it's like baby steps. So when I first get like a young kid, I'll teach him about barrel accuracy, right? For me, barrel accuracy is how consistent I can hit the ball with my barrel. Because believe it or not, kids don't know how to do that. Like it's the
Yeah.
craziest thing, but kids really like it sounds very simple and very basic, but kids really don't know how to do that because they're swinging metal bats and you swing a $500 bat and you're hitting these balls and you think, oh, I hit it because the ball went far. But then if I put a piece of, wood bat in your hand, you're not gonna have the same result because your mechanics are off, or just everything's off. And like I used to have parents where they'll be like, oh, you need to do this. I saw this on this video. It's like, no, he just needs to learn how to hit the ball with the bat. Very simple stuff. Very simple stuff. Then when we get older, then it's like, okay, I let the kids be a natural athlete. That's kind of how I like really teach it. So it's like after barrel accuracy, it's like, okay, this kid, let's allow him to be a natural athlete. If they want to stand up tall, I don't change that. If they want to crouch, I don't change that. Because if you look at every hitter in the big leagues, it's all about getting to the same spot. And that's all I really teach. Because I feel like when you try to overcomplicate something that's already hard to do, no, you're not
Yeah.
gonna. So it's like I try to teach kids just get to the same spot every time. That's literally all I teach. And for me, I can proudly say that my kids put up results. And I can be confident in saying that because I teach them that one simple thing where everyone's trying to use sabermetrics and all this stuff. You need to get your arm up this high at this degree, and then you need to tilt this and do this. Like, that makes no sense to me. For me, it's like if I can because you can look at any Hall of Fame hitter, any good hitter, they all get to the same spot. And they all get to the same spot. So you can hit the fastball, the breaking ball. I teach all my kids that, and then what I do is like it's cool to, hit off the machine and hit exit velo and do all this and do all that, right? But if you're not like teaching your kids like how to have an approach when you're up to bat, they're
Yep.
gonna I don't care if you can hit the ball 110 miles per hour, right? If there's a man on third base and you don't know what ball is coming at you, you're not gonna win. Like if there's a man on first base, right? There's a man on first base, one out. And I ask a kid, what is this guy going to throw to you? And he has no idea. You're not ready for the at bat. It's a man on first, one out. He's going to say, okay, this guy's going to try to get me to throw. I mean, this guy's going to try to get me to swing at something low because he wants me to roll over. He's going to probably
Hmm.
try to jam me because he wants me to roll over. He's not going to want me to get my bat head out. He's not going to want me to get extended. He's going to try to get me to, roll over this ball so they can get the double play, get out the inning. That's what I teach my kids. That's kind of like
Mm.
get in
Yeah.
position and write philosophy of how to hit. And then after that, then it's what pitches are we looking for? They're like, oh, I'm looking for a curveball. Why?
No, you're not.
Like, I'm looking for a slider. Why are you looking for a pitch going away from you? Like a slider. You're not hitting the best slider. I can tell you a slider's coming. And, especially guys in the big leagues, they're throwing 90-mile-per-hour sliders. You're not hitting that, So it's like you need to be ready for the fastball at all times. And then if you're geared for the fastball, then when you see the spin out his hand, you can then adjust to it. So those are kind of like my three like things that I teach.
No, that's good.
No, that's great.
I
That's
think it helps
it's
the
the
kids
mental
mentally.
approach.
Yeah, me and Brian
Yeah.
think the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think kids want to hit the slow coming pitch because they're thinking that maybe they can't hit the fastball, so they want to
Hmm.
pitch it but they don't realize the way the ball spins nowadays, that ball looks like it's coming to you, but
Yeah.
by the
It's
time you
not.
swing, is way outside.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've talked to many of scouts and they all say the same thing. The best hitters are the one that hits the best pitcher's best fastball. If you can hit the pitcher's best fastball, you have a chance. If you can't hit, guys now, like when my dad was playing, the average fastball was like 91.
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
the average fastball is 93, 94. So if you can't hit a fastball, you might as well go do something else.
So, what's the you're in South Florida, so what is the dynamic of the kids that you see coming in to train with you? I'm assuming, Miami, it's
Mhm.
Hispanic, but do you see more like the black kids? Do you see more of, different races coming to you to train?
Yeah, yeah. I see it all. I see it all, and I help all. I try my best to get more people that look like me in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
Just
I agree.
you don't see that many. But especially in Florida, there's, you have whites, Hispanics, blacks. I mean, everyone wants to play, but I try to help, I try to convince, African Americans,
I
people that
agree.
look
I
like
agree with
me
you. I think
play.
when your dad played, there was more African Americans in the game back in the day, whereas today there's not that many. And I want to see more of that. I think I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and a lot of my African American friends play baseball. But
Yeah.
I think that it's gone away from that in the game for whatever reason.
I
And
mean, there are reasons. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, we know the reasons, but
yeah,
but at the end of the day, I think the push to get baseball, like I know Griffey Jr. does it. He has a league that, I mean, that an event they put together. Michael Tucker's a buddy of mine, so I know that he's involved in that. And I think the game has just gone too international. Sometimes I
yeah.
feel like, and you almost want it to be
That's one of
more
the
homegrown.
reasons. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's like,
and
and
very expensive.
yeah, well, yes, it is expensive. I mean, travel baseball, it's travel baseball. There's good and there's bad, just like with anything. There's good and there's bad. The thing with travel baseball is it affects, there was an interview and someone asked A-Rod, if you were like, I think A-Rod said something along the lines of, if I was in today's time, I wouldn't make it to the big leagues.
Yeah, I saw that.
People are
Yeah.
like, why? Like you're A-Rod. And he was like, it's too expensive. Like I wasn't I wasn't born and raised into wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was saying. He was like he wasn't born and raised into wealth and his parents were not able to, be able to put him on that travel ball team that he needs to be in to be seen in front of the right scouts, pay for the bat, pay for the gloves and all that stuff. And you got a guy like A-Rod saying that. So then
Yeah, and it
imagine,
goes against all races. I mean, every race has
yeah, it's not
their
even a race thing. Yeah.
yeah, it has nothing to do with just being African American, Hispanic, but
Yeah.
the game itself has pushed away from the kids in the inner city. I should say, I grew up in inner city, and
Yeah.
baseball is just not in there anymore. And I wanted to be. I actually want to go back into the different cities and introduce the game and get more kids to play it. One,
Yeah.
because to me, I feel like it teaches the kids adversity. It teaches them how to be to grow up in life and everything, because there's so many, like we mentioned earlier, so many aspects of the game of baseball that are hard. But if
Yeah.
you can succeed in baseball, there's
Yeah.
many things in life you can succeed in because how hard it is.
Yeah, because I feel like out of any sport, at least in my opinion, I feel like baseball is the most like when it comes down to dealing with adversity,
Mhm.
baseball is like top tier if you want to teach any kid adversity. Because
Yeah.
if you literally succeed 3 out of 10 times, you're considered a Hall of Famer. So
Mhm.
like you do that in any other sport, you're considered trash. So it's like it's just
You go
what it is.
what 3 for 6
You can't have a 3 out of 10 completion
yeah,
percentage if you're a
Yeah, like
quarterback.
you
yeah,
Yeah,
won't be
exactly.
in the league for long, It's
right.
basketball. If I'm shooting 10 shots and
Three
I'm
out
hitting
of
three of them,
yeah.
like I'm not a good
It's
basketball
I
player.
said 3 for 6. I
right.
was wrong. It's 3 for 10. If you're 3 for 10 in basketball,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had a horrible night and nobody's watching you.
yeah,
In
exactly.
baseball, you're like, wow, you hit three
Yeah, he's
balls,
amazing. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. It's like it's crazy, and that's why I encourage kids to play baseball. That it's because it teaches like mental toughness, and that's what a lot of kids need now, especially in this day and age. I feel like everybody's soft, so it's like you
Yeah, yeah.
mental toughness, you need that in your life. That kind of builds your character to be, successful in this world. So, yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're trying training, staying involved in the game as you are. I mean, you just literally just played, winter ball not too last season. Do you see yourself continuing? I know you said you had an injury. Do you see yourself continuing to want to play? Are you kind of getting yourself back in shape for that?
I'm healed now. Like I'm all good now. Shoulder, everything's fine. I'm just kind of right now at a crossroad. I'm like, I want to play, but I'm like, is it worth it? I'm making good money. I'm like, do I want to go out there? I mean, I've had a few offers. A few teams have hit me up. The one in Columbia, and then a few independent leagues. And I had one like MLB workout, but I was just trying to. I don't know. Right now, like I'm still in game shape. Like I go out and I play in the in my god brother's league, D Gordon. I was telling you about earlier. He has a league called the Farm League, and it's out in like the Lakeland, Orlando
Oh,
areas.
no
They play
kidding.
a lot. Yeah, and they it's just like guys to get their work in. And you'll have like top high school guys out there, you'll have pro guys out there, you'll have indie ball, you'll have everybody out there. And it's really like to get your work in because it's hard to go play winter ball and when there's not really much baseball going on right now, especially around like the Christmas holiday or Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays, until like the actual season starts. So it's definitely something to like keep me going. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll make sure to let you guys know what I do.
Yeah,
But
we'll be following along. We'll be keeping
uh,
tabs on you.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's do it.
So we didn't really emphasize this too much, and I didn't even say it in the introduction, but for our listeners, Garrett is Gary Sheffield's son. And we thought we wanted to make this about you and not your dad, of course.
Mhm.
But we do have a question about his baseball career.
Yeah, of course.
So in 2024 was his last year, I think, on the Hall of Fame ballot. And he fell short, although he had like 63%, almost 64% up there on the vote. However, he's got a strong case. I mean, 500 career over 500 career home runs. His OPS is over nine, nine-time All-Star, all those things, right?
Yeah.
All those things. Is that an issue that if you could share any of his insight, is that an issue that bothers him? How does that stack up against other guys of that era? Are there any thoughts? I mean, of course, he's got accusations of being involved in the steroid era.
Yeah.
But that's affecting a lot of some of the best baseball players of all time right now.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up watching baseball in that era and playing, so I was a 90s kid.
Mhm.
So uh, I have my own thoughts about it, but I want to hear yours and anything that you want to share about that.
Okay. So I'm not gonna give like his opinion because his opinion he kind of expects it. He kind of
Yeah,
expects it.
yeah,
He
yeah.
knows like what it is, and it's like what I said earlier about the politics in the game because it's
Yep.
already been disproven. I mean, on the documentaries. I mean, you can literally go on Netflix. There's literally a documentary of the guy physically saying out of his own mouth that the cream situation with my dad, there was no steroids in it. I
Yep.
mean, that's just he said it out the horse's mouth. He said there was no cream that had any steroid, or it wasn't like he said there's my dad wasn't even like involved or like nothing into that. So it's already been disproven by the main guy that got, that came up with the products. I think he would know his clients. So the thing is, it's like my dad was close to Barry. So obviously, like, my dad was a very vocal person and, like Barry and other players as well. So him like having that voice that like people didn't really like, especially at that time, kind of hurt him as well. Should my dad be a Hall of Famer? Yeah, if you're looking at numbers and you're looking at the statistics, I mean, he never struck out over 100 times, you know.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's never struck out over 100 times. I mean, he's has seasons where he's has more walks than strikeouts. So in terms of numbers, yeah, he should not. He should definitely be in. But it's politics. When these reporters and one of my friends were asking me this, and I said these reporters are going to be around a lot longer than the players. So I was like the player, the reporter that was there
Yeah.
or that are around during my dad's time that might not like something he said, they'll hold that grudge forever. They'll hold it, and then they know when to get you, right? They'll know when to get you. So then when it comes time to get in the Hall of Fame, now that guy from 30 years ago, remember something that you said in the heat of a moment, because when you're in competition and these guys are getting interviewed and they just lost, you're gonna be mad. So you might say something, or you might, you know, say certain things that people might not agree with, but they'll hold that against you. And then, now my dad's in a position to be in the Hall of Fame, which he should be, if you're looking at numbers. He's not able to get there because of this guy's mad at him for, you know, 20 years ago about something that he probably doesn't even remember that he said. So,
Mhm.
it's kind of like a tricky situation with that. I think he would get in? I mean, we'll see. I don't know, just because he had an opportunity, I think this past Saturday to get in through like because like once
Oh,
you
the Veterans Committee or whatever.
yeah,
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 that's when. Yeah, I saw that vote just came up.
yeah.
Um, I don't know the exact process on it. I have to. It always kind of confuses me. Like what, and there's like you could be on it for a certain amount of time, and then you get bumped to the veterans or the whatever they call the retired players, the ones that get another shot at it.
Yeah, so like it depends on your voting. So if you are
Yes,
less than 5 votes on that, then you can like you have to wait 5 more years. So he got
that's
less
right.
than 5 votes. So now he has to wait another 5, 6 years, I think, to get back on the veterans thing. Yeah,
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 I feel like if the fans vote the players to the All-Star game, the fans are the ones that watch them play. The I get it, it's the writers and everything else. It's a little biased with that, but I honestly, my personal opinion is let us just vote the guys that we see and watch. If we watch them play,
yeah.
and I get it. You have some bias with the fans too, but I just think it's just like, if you look at the numbers, you look at everything else, you look at what they meant to the game at the time and what he's a 9-time All-Star. Like, that's not just something that anyone can accomplish what he did. He's up there with the best of them. It's almost like you keep these guys back. I don't agree with it. I just think
I
it's
feel like MLB knew the certain guys were on steroids, and because the game was at a point where it was like it was just bad, and they needed something to like make the game exciting. I feel
yeah,
like they knew certain guys, and I feel like, I mean, shoot, I probably won't be in the league, so I could say this and not care at all. But I feel like they knew about it, and I feel like they pushed certain guys to do it, honestly. And this is not my dad's opinion. This is my own thought,
Mm,
so put that on record. It's my own thought
yeah.
that I think, it was encouraged, and, like they knew about it, and they're like, oh, well, these are bringing up our ratings. You're telling me, the whole McGuire Sosa thing when, you see these two guys like this walking around with doing the home run at that time when they're, chasing for that home run title, that was entertaining for baseball. That's peak.
it was amazing. I
Yeah.
It
remember
was
every single game, and when they faced each other,
Yeah.
you did not go. I did not watch anybody else but that game. That's all I
Like,
watched.
but that's the thing though. In baseball, how it is, because I remember my dad saying this before. He said this on multiple interviews where like, you'll have a good game, the next day you're getting tested. So you're telling me these guys are chasing this home run title and none of them get tested for steroids or get tested for anything, but my dad has gotten tested multiple times and has not failed. He's still have not failed a drug test. So it's like, but then you let Ortiz in, which, I know them, I know their family, they're all cool people, but Ortiz got in. I mean, why did nobody say anything about that? You know? So I don't know. I just
it's
I have my own
so
speculation.
I think you're hitting on something, and I've actually never considered any of this before. Um, so 1994 was the players' strike.
Mm,
Um, it took it was a huge blow to baseball. Baseball was up on a huge upswing in the early 90s with popularity. I mean,
yeah.
if you go back to the early 90s, this is when I'm 10 years old. Um, The Sandlot came out, Rookie of the Year, all these baseball movies geared towards kids. You had baseball was in like kind of ingrained in pop culture in such a big way at that point, and then the strike happens,
Yeah.
right? So baseball took a huge blow in that time period. Then 1997 is your home run chase, right? So you're coming out 95, 96 of that, and people are kind of forgotten about baseball for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
It's not, it didn't have it took this big hit. So it's something I never even considered, but I will tell you this, I talk frequently with people about that home run race in 97. I talked to a coworker about this the other day and how exciting that was. And none of us really care that these guys were on steroids. Um,
I feel like
I,
people
I hate to say it, but it was so entertaining, and I'll never forget that McGuire Sosa race. That at the end of the day, to me, it doesn't take away from it knowing they were on steroids the whole time.
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not being ethical there, but I think it'll never. I think you'll never be able to recapture that kind of magic of that summer from a baseball standpoint. There's other things that have happened, right? I mean, we've got great players in the game today that are very exciting to watch,
Yeah.
but you couldn't almost scripted that better.
I just feel like, yeah, because I feel like Major League Baseball, they pick and choose what they want to be harder about.
Totally.
Because it's like, okay, you're talking about integrity of the game, right? You want to talk about integrity of the game? Okay, cool. Steroids, yes. It shows no integrity for the game. Okay, but then what about the Astro situation?
Yep.
They still got to keep their World Series. All they did was what? They suspended a few guys, fired the manager, which he ends up getting rehired by Detroit.
Yeah, that's
Cora.
our manager in Detroit. We love him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he ends up, he ends up getting, like Cora gets the suspension, still gets his
Yeah.
job back. Like that's not, you know what I mean?
No,
It's
you're absolutely right.
different.
You pick and choose,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
different.
and I even look at it, and this isn't exclusive to baseball,
Mhm.
but gambling, right? So it's the NFL is probably even worse in this regard. And NBA obviously has now had some issues,
Yeah, for real.
but um, you've got like these Major League Baseball and the other professional sports leagues are profiting and pushing gambling so much. And then all of a sudden, a couple of their players get wrapped up in these gambling scandals, and they're like, oh my God, we got to crack down on these guys.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
You put it out there.
okay,
You put it out
it's
there to say it was okay, and then and then they get
yeah,
mad when they engage it. I mean, I'm gonna throw this out there, just like the Mets buying Soto and then opening up a casino in a few years. So there you go. Like you're putting, it's like you're using the players to get to what you want, but then you want
right.
to get down on the players when they're human,
Right.
yeah,
regardless.
You love the revenue it pulls in, and then all of a sudden your players are trying to make some extra money or whatever they're doing. I mean, that you shouldn't be betting against yourself,
yeah, of course.
but it takes away from the integrity, just takes away from the purpose of the game.
Yeah,
But um at the same time, like you're creating that environment to, every NFL game or college football game, preview show I watch. They're out there, giving the lines on everything, and all the gambling companies are sponsoring it and this and that, and then you expect nobody ever to, get involved.
yeah. And the crazy thing too is you're really telling me that with the Shohei thing, like you're really gonna sit here and tell me that think about it. If you had $500 taken out your bank account, you're gonna know $500 were taken out my account without me knowing. There's no way in the world. I don't care how much millions of dollars you have. That you're not taking $5 million out of anybody's account, and they're just gonna sit here and say, "Well, I don't know where that how that happened." Like that's what I'm saying. They just pick and choose, and at the end of the day, it's an entertainment industry, and
Mhm.
I feel like that's where people like tend to like forget. Like this is yes, it's baseball, yes, it's basketball, football, all these things, but it's an entertainment industry. And when you have an entertainment industry, the top guns, they want to make the most money the fastest. So they're always thinking of ways to make money. And gambling used to be like it used to be this forbidden sin. Like you just never, you wouldn't even say the word. Now it's like encouraged, like you said, encouraged to be
Yeah, it
done.
was always kind of under the table,
Yeah,
right? It's like, you had a few casinos maybe that were very regulated, and
Mm-hmm.
then, online gambling didn't really exist or it was heavily restricted, but now it's everywhere.
yeah. Because you can only tell me if I'm wrong though. You can at the time you were only able to do it like in the casinos, right? And then now they're starting
Yeah.
to do it
In
through.
Vegas, I think for sports gambling, I think you could only gamble on sports legally in Vegas.
Okay, okay,
And I don't even think in some of the different casinos around the country you were able to. It was very restricted.
yeah, yeah.
It was more controlled. They can control it there. So,
Right.
Mm,
now it's like whatever. Everyone's making money. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, I guess for the young kids you're training nowadays, I mean, I know everybody wants to be the next millionaire, billionaire, but maybe we just create a sandlot league and just let them play baseball. You know,
yeah.
I know it doesn't sound like anything that's gonna happen, but I love the game so much, and I think so many things are ruining the game and ruining the aspect of what the game is about, and the money aspect and the drama and all this nonsense going on. The game is a great game no matter what, but they, like you said, there's just done so much to the game that's ruined it for the players, for the legacy of players. Now you can share about your dad to everybody, but if the media has one little bad thing to say about your father and his career,
Yeah.
then it negates everything he ever accomplished on the field, and it's not fair. It's not
Yeah.
fair to him because everything he accomplished, no one else accomplished. He did it.
Hmm.
That year prior to the home run race, the year prior, he had 42 home runs. He was in the mix of top 10 guys with over 40 home runs. I mean, it was a great time to watch baseball. He was
Yeah.
a part of that. So to have one little thing negate that, one little reporter not give him the vote, I think is ridiculous. And I think
And the crazy, yeah, because the crazy thing too is like when people are like, "Oh, well, we want more personality in baseball because the players are too boring," and then
listen,
when
I loved his swing. It was personality enough, right?
yeah, yeah. It's like you want personality. I mean, he gave you that. You might not liked it all the time, but he gave you personality, and you need stories. I feel like that's why basketball and football they just do so much better in terms of like the exposure for the game going to the right directions, just because they're good at. I feel like those leagues are good at creating stories better than I feel like baseball they do at times as well, but
Yeah.
they're just not as good as the NBA or the NFL or even hockey now, at like
Yeah.
creating those storylines that people can kind of relate to,
Hmm.
and like hold on to like draw whatever type of picture they want for their league.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think the NBA is good at creating sort of stars, and because it's such an individual, I mean it's team sport, but it's like
Yeah.
it's easy to identify a basketball star because there's only five of them on the court on each
Yeah.
team at one time, and they could kind of dominate games.
Hmm.
And then and I also think the NBA or the NFL, the you have the NFL is unique and football is unique because it has week to week drama. You
Yeah.
have you have a one game on a Sunday, and then you build the story the whole week into the next game.
Hmm.
So there's really nothing to compare it to in that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's why football is as popular as it is. Um, but with baseball, it's one of the challenges, like Shohei Ohtani, right? He's one of the biggest, probably the biggest international athlete right now.
Yeah.
If you put it on a global perspective, but he's not an American. He's a Japanese, player,
Hmm.
right? So it's hard for American kids to identify with Shohei Ohtani that much. They could appreciate his talent
Yeah.
and his and what he does on the field, but as a character, you can't really identify with him that much,
No, you can't,
right?
especially when they don't really like show their personality.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to do that, because it's like same thing like with Dominican guys, like, a lot of them
right,
they don't speak English. So it's hard to
right.
like you can't market them very well. Like you can, but
No,
like you can only do like the ones they market are the ones that they speak both, you know,
yeah,
like
I
he,
agree. And then you have like Aaron Judge, who's a great, also, but I feel like Aaron Judge is a little bit private in his, approach. He seems like a super nice guy,
Yeah.
But he seemed like he doesn't really crave the spotlight. He doesn't really offer that to the media.
I
And
feel like
that's
a lot
his,
of yeah, a lot of
yeah, I
baseball
don't
players,
blame
they
him,
don't
to be
really
honest. I mean,
yeah.
good for him that he doesn't make himself a spectacle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't, he doesn't have that thing that draws people in the way that some other, athletes in other sports might, or the media doesn't make him out that way,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So baseball has some really great talent right now and some really great, some of the best players I think what we've had in actually a couple decades.
Yeah.
Um, but they don't have those that story. Like I think that's a good point. The storyline, right? The way the storyline now, I guess the storyline's the Dodgers, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, it's the same. It's not doesn't have exactly the star power in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So can you just? I want to ask two more questions, but I want to ask, how old are you right now?
26.
Okay, so 26 years old. You've grown up in the game the last decade, pretty much. In 2000 to now, probably born 99, correct? 2000 to
Yeah.
now. Brian and I from a different era. Brian's from the 90s. I'm in the 80s kid. I grew up watching the Mets and the 80s teams and stuff. Kind of give us a little synopsis of where you see the game today on your view. I mean, obviously it's hard to compare to our era, but where do you see the game today in your era?
I think the game now is more talented than ever. I feel like the better players are now, but I feel like in terms of where the game's going, everyone's like robots. It's very robotic. And it's not like back then, it was based on athleticism. Now it's based on strategy, which is nothing wrong with that. But like, I remember I went to a game with my girl and we were watching, and I'm looking at these guys. This was at the Ray Stadium when they were playing at the Yankees spring
Oh yeah,
training
I was there
this
this
year.
summer for a couple games. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm out there and I'm watching, and you usually like on TV, you don't see like them like pre-pitch. You just see like pitcher, catcher, hitter. But I'm like watching these guys and they take out the cards, which is fine because I did that in
Yeah.
college and pro ball. They take out the cards and they all shift to this field. Then they shift to this field, right? And then the ball gets hit exactly where they're shifted to, which is good strategy. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Play to your advantage. But it's like it's not, there's no athleticism in it. And I feel like MLB now is like, oh shoot, people aren't watching us anymore because we're taking athleticism out the game. So now we have to create these new rules like the bases, how many times you can pick off, like the how far you can shift, like all these things to make the game kind of like what it was back then. Like back then, like I'll watch games from back then before I watch games from like today,
Mm,
just because they were way more entertaining.
mm-hmm,
Like if I hit a ball, you know, up the middle, that's a base hit. Now that might not be a base hit because the guy is standing right there, exactly where they know you're gonna hit the ball and you're out. And it just takes, I don't know, it's like I feel like the talent is better than ever, but the athleticism it's gone. And I feel like baseball players now are just dumb. Like to be honest, they're play very dumb. Like they don't play to win. They play like if there's a man on third base, like how my dad taught us to play baseball was like play based off of the situation you see on the field. That's how he played. And
mm-hmm,
it was like if you're, you know, if there's a man on third base, right, and they're throwing you inside pitches, right, you don't want to you don't want to like swing at those pitches because they're trying to get you to roll over to the third baseman so that guy on third doesn't score. You should know that. And like, guys are like swing, everyone's striking out so much. So it's like it's the same thing with the World Series. Perfect example, right? Or just the playoff baseball. The team that went the furthest, like the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, they had guys that were just good situational hitters. I feel like
Absolutely.
back then back then during y'all's generation, that's a they were good at that. Now they're terrible. Like
mm-hmm.
they
It's exactly right. I mean, Ernie Clement is the guy that really stuck out to me, the third baseman for the Blue Jays. I mean, I enjoyed more watching that guy hit in the playoffs than I enjoyed watching anybody else. Shohei, Mookie, all the great
Yeah.
players that were on the field. Vladdy had a great series too,
Yeah.
um, but that it was just, he just very scrappy, and he was just figuring out where to put the ball, try to get the ball in the play. All the things that you would teach a kid to hit, the way a kid would hit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you would teach a younger kid to hit, and then somehow that gets all changed when they're older and they're talking about all these other things,
Yeah.
right? So he just put the bat on the ball and got himself on base.
Yeah. And then like a guy like him, you need that guy to win you a World Series. He was a
Right.
difference maker for the Blue Jays because without
Huge.
him,
Yeah.
like he almost won them the World Series,
Yep.
until that play was made in left field. But like that guy right there, he's a guy that you want on your team because with a man on third base, he's just gonna get himself out. He's gonna, try to hit the ball the other way, put himself in a position where it's like, okay, we can get that run to score. And that sets up your Vladdies or your Bo Bichettes to then go do their job as the stars to then get you around because that's their
Right.
job.
Small
But when you
ball.
had,
Yeah.
but back then that was prioritized. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
average, all that stuff, that stuff was prioritized. Now we're looking at, you know, today's baseball and every a man on third, you'll see three guys strike out in a row. People will be flipping, tables if
Yeah.
that happened back then, where now that's like a normal thing that you see. And you're like, how did they not score that run? Just put the ball in play. I know it's
Because
hard to
Right.
hit, but it's
because
like you're a major leaguer for a reason.
because guys
You-
don't give themselves up. Everything's about velo and how hard you can hit the ball and let's pull it out of the park. I think if you give yourself up, hit the other way and get the runner in, I think, it's just not it's not beautiful, it's not pretty, it's not sexy to do that nowadays.
Play different in the playoffs. In the postseason, some of these guys learn to play different.
Yeah, and you see the level of baseball change when you get to the playoffs. Now they're like, I remember when the Yankees, they were winning all these games and they're talking about, oh, they're gonna go back and they could do this without Soto. As soon as they go to the playoffs, right? Everyone's complaining that the Yankees can't situational hit. Well, they haven't situational hit all year. They just hit home
Right.
runs. What made you think when they went to the postseason they were gonna go play defense and then situational hit? Makes zero sense.
Right.
It's because in people's minds, everyone turns it on in the postseason because in the summertime it doesn't matter. No, it does matter because if you learn by remembering, right? So if you play a certain way, you're
Yeah.
gonna play the same way. You don't just turn it on a different way because the
Yeah.
postseason started.
Yeah, I never understood that like at all. That's why the Blue Jays went far and people were so
Yeah.
shocked. I was like, I don't know why people are shocked about the Blue Jays. Blue Jays had three good starters, you know, three guys
Yep.
that come in, do their job. You had good bullpen guys that come in, do their job, and then you got your role players because all that stuff comes down to is really your role players. To go far in any postseason, you need good role players. So if
Yep.
you don't have good versatile role players, it don't matter because if your star struggles, I mean, when Aaron Judge struggles with the Yankees, it's absolutely terrible baseball to watch.
Yeah, it
So it's like, but then that Blue Jays team, I was like, that's an exciting team. That's like an old school team.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was fun. They were fun. I actually enjoyed watching them play.
Yeah.
But Garrett, man, let me tell you, we're gonna bring you back because
Yes.
you have a great knowledge of the game. You have a great understanding of the game at 26 years old. Not to say 26-year-olds don't,
Yeah, no,
but you have a little history with your family in the game, and then what you've accomplished and what you've experienced. And this would be another great show to just talk about the game and everything that's going on. And I also would love to pick your brain on the Mets, but it'll take us another level right now that we're not gonna have time for.
you might
So
start crying.
now I'm not gonna cry. I might punch a hole in the wall over here, and I probably have some holes in the walls over here. But anyway, if you
Texted David this stuff about, I said, I like, because I'm a Tigers fan. I'm like, I think you're getting Tarek Skubal. And he's like, I don't believe any of this. He's like, this team is going down.
So let me tell
Yeah.
you, if you go to my X account, I've been ranting. I'm not acting like a journalist or anything. I'm just ranting as a fan. So, but anyway, that would be great for another show. We'd like to bring you on maybe spring training around that time to kind of see where teams have evolved and what your outlook is for the season. But before we end this, I want to ask about the hat. I know you have a couple of businesses that you're working on, you're kind of involved in. Kind of share what you're doing aside from the training.
Yeah, yeah. So this is what I've always push to athletes that I'm around, that also the young kids too. When you're playing the game, like grow your brand, grow your business, be more than just a baseball player, right? Be able to do multiple things. And this hat right here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says
Yeah.
Eye Candy. It's a business that me
Yep.
and my girlfriend started a few years back in 2023. Um, we've been selling, so you know the necklaces. See if I could pull this
Yeah.
out. The
Yep.
Hmm.
necklaces, they became real popular, right? And for me, I wanted to I didn't want to be just necklaces. When we were dealing making our business model, we were like, we don't want to just be necklaces because
Yeah.
eventually that it's a trend, it comes and it goes. We want it to be like something big. So like in 2026, we're about to drop like a whole like sports like clothing line. And like these are one of our hats, like you can wear out. And then we're also gonna have like different shirts and jackets and a whole bunch of like different things. So I'll make sure to hook you guys up for
There
sure
you go.
when we
You're
when we
you're in
drop.
Miami. I'm across the state, so I'll just come and get it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you, man. Just hit me up. Come over, man.
No, but
Come.
that's awesome. So yeah, listen, that's great entrepreneurship. That's something you're thinking for the future. At the same time, you're training ball players. You're still in the game, involved in the game. You're still loving the game. I mean, it's awesome to see. That's why we love sharing these stories. People don't realize that a ball player is not just a ball player, right? A ball player is more than that. And there's so many intricacies of your story of what brought you to the game, what keeps you in the game, and your knowledge of the game. And I think the way you're training kids is awesome. You're teaching them the right way to play the game. Maybe that'll change the next generation of ball players or how to approach the game, and not just about how hard you can hit the ball because even though it goes up and comes down and then go anywhere, but you hit it hard, right?
Yeah.
But it's just the
Yeah.
mental aspect and the mental strength is what you're teaching. I think that's great that the next generation has young guys like you that kids can listen to. Like they're not gonna listen to us old folks. They're gonna listen to the young guys that it's not just your name, but it's what you've accomplished and what you're doing with everything that you've learned. So I'm glad to know you. I'm glad we connected with you, and I'm glad to see that you're taking everything you've learned to the next level. And yeah, share with us everything. We'll put everything on the website, all your links and everything, to let everybody know what's going on with you and whatever we can do to help you to share eye candy and whatever else you're doing out there. Feel free to use us for that.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And make sure you guys follow me on Instagram too.
Will
It's
do.
yeah, Garrett_Sheffield. Um, you know, I'm always here giving good information. I had a blast, honestly. I love talking baseball and love talking about where the game's going. So let me know when you guys want me on next time. I'll definitely do it.
Definitely, man.
We'll get you back for sure. It was a lot of fun. All right. All right, guys. Episode 104 with Garrett Sheffield. It's been a great time. We'll see you
And
soon.
wait. Not only
Oh,
we're gonna follow Garrett, but we're all gonna click
yes.
on the subscribe button on our YouTube. Listen, we've had 104 episodes now. Our numbers is not where we want to be. We're two dads that love this game. We have a passion for the game. We share amazing stories. If you click on the YouTube and all our social media, you get to see a lot of great content on the website, great content, great stories on YouTube. So we plug it all the time. Everyone plugs that, but we have great stories and some great names. So just go out there and keep following us along. But
Yeah.
Brian, once again, we thank Gary for coming on the show, and everybody. We're signing off. But once again, thank you for another great episode of Legends on Deck podcast.